Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is March the 31st, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This is a meeting of the House Agriculture and Natural Resources Committee. We are now in session. Clerk, call the roll.
Representatives Cochran. Here. Cooper. Here. Darby. Here. Hardaway. Halsey. Here. Hurt. Here. Potts. Reedy. Here. Rudder. Here. Shaw. Todd. Here. Travis. Wright. Here. Vice Chairman Grills. Here. Chairman Halford.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Just before we get started here with anything, any of those of you in the audience who are newly appointees, we're going to do our regular business before we get to that. So just hang with us for a little bit and we'll get to you shortly. So without that, personal orders. Anyone with personal orders today? Any comments? Seeing none, then we will move on into our calendar. Speaker Marsh, you are recognized on House Bill 1286, sir. I don't believe we have an amendment. Is that correct?
No, sir. I don't believe we do.
All right, sir. You are recognized for explanation of House Bill 1286.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill concerns the Tennessee State Fair. The State Fair and Exposition Commission recently recommended to the governor to move the State Fair to Wilson County Fairgrounds. And this is what we're doing today, is getting the paperwork ready that can happen. The legislation specifies the nonprofit Tennessee State Fair Association, in conjunction with Wilson County Promotions Incorporated, the organization of volunteers who conduct the Wilson County Fair, to operate the State Fair. Wilson County Fair has a strong volunteer base with over 1,600 volunteers who contribute over 91,000 hours. And we believe that Wilson County Fairgrounds is an ideal location for the Tennessee State Fair. The $50 million facility includes 280 acres, 117,000 square feet of livestock facility, 78,000 square feet of expo center, 7 buildings with 16,000 and square feet, and a 26,000 square foot arena, 86 acres of parking. And this is what it gets all the paperwork ready that this can happen. And in the governor's budget, there's proposed $5 million to go toward making this happen. With that, I'll take any questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard an explanation of the bill. Are there questions for the sponsor at this point? Questions been called on the bill. We're voting on House Bill 1286 to go to Finance, Ways, and Means. All in favor will say aye. All opposed say no. Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next on our calendar is House Bill 584, which is off notice. That moves us to House Bill 641. Representative Alexander, you are recognized. Have a motion and a second on the bill. I need a motion and a second on an amendment. What is the code that you have on your the amendment?
The amendment is 004110.
Great, that's what I have. Motion and a second on the amendment.
Second.
Have a motion and a second on the amendment. You may proceed.
Okay, thank you. The bill is basically so that it creates a lifetime sportsmanship license for adopted children who reside in this state, which entitles such a child's legally designated guardian to apply for the license on the child's behalf up until the child is 13 years of age. And this will be, they have to do it within 36 months of adopting that child.
And I believe that's an explanation of the amendment. Is that
yes,
correct?
Yes, it is correct.
Are there questions for the sponsor on the amendment? Seeing none, we will be voting to add the amendment to House Bill 641. All in favor will say aye. All opposed say no. We're back on the bill as amended. Do you have further comments or statements to make? Are there questions for the sponsor on the bill as amended? Seeing none, we are voting to send House Bill 641 to Calendar and Rules. Oops, excuse me, I take that back. All in favor will say aye. All opposed say no. Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, committee.
Next is House Bill 871 has been rolled 1 week. That brings us to House Bill 322. Representative Hodges, you are recognized, sir. Have a motion and a second on the bill. I believe we have an amendment on this bill.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it's 4965.
That's what I have. Have a motion and a second on the amendment. We're voting to put the amendment on House Bill 322. All in favor will say aye. All opposed say no. We're back on we're on the amendment, sir, so.
And so what this bill does is it gives veterans that have 100% service-connected disability 50% off of their stay at state parks for up to 3 days. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Questions for the sponsor on the amendment? Question's been called on House Bill 322 as amended. All in favor will say aye. All opposed say no. You're headed to GovOps. That brings us to House Joint Resolution 233 by Representative Vaughn. We'll move that one down a couple of spaces, hoping that he will come in. We'll move on to House Joint Resolution 218 by Representative Grills.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This HJR is to appoint Mr. Wally Childress to the TWRA Board.
Motion and a second to confirm this appointment. Representative Grills, do you have further?
He is here in the audience if you'd like to hear from him, or the
Yes,
committee
sir.
would like to hear from
meet
him.
Would you come on up, please, sir? Give us your name and what you do for the record. Be sure that red light's on right in the center, I believe. Does it say on and off? Yes, sir.
Don Wallace Childress II, Pagoda, Tennessee. I'm a farmer.
Any questions for this gentleman while we have him in the bullpen here? Representative Hurt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to take a second to welcome Wally, good friend for a long time through the years, being that I, of course, live just south of Rusty's district, and good family friend I'd like to say hello to. Also to his lovely wife over here, Tracy. I'll attest to his judgment and decision-making based on his wife. So anyway, I just want to say hello. I won't get into asking any questions about your experiences through the years with wildlife or staying within the limits of everything. So anyway, just great to have you here. Great to see you on this commission. Appreciate your willingness to serve, and look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Representative Grills.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also, I'd like to add how important it is to have farmers on the TWRA Commission, because they have to work hand in hand. The TWRA has to work hand in hand with the agriculture community on a daily basis, and have someone that understands how they can affect agriculture or production agriculture is extremely valuable to our part of the world. So it's great to have you on there to give your perspective and to represent Northwest Tennessee. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything for this gentleman while we have him up here? Thank you, sir, for being here. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Let's see. There's Representative Vaughn. We'll go back to you now on House Joint Resolution 233. I'm sorry. Give me just a minute. I got out of sync here.
Okay.
We'll have to go back into session to vote on, which one was it? 218. On House Joint Resolution 218. All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Thank you very much. That brings us back to Representative Vaughn now. House Joint Resolution 233. Sir, you are recognized. Have a motion and a second on HJR 233.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. It's my great honor to introduce you today to a nominee for the TWRA Commission spot. This young man, when I first met him, was a city boy that didn't know how to hunt and fish, and he just was struggling on the mean streets of Collierville, and I took him in No, not kidding. No, I want y'all to meet my good friend, Bill Cox. Bill Cox has been we've been family friends for a very, very long time. He's an experienced outdoorsman. He's actually spent time on the commission. He's an experienced voice. He's got institutional knowledge, but more so than that, he's a man of honor and integrity. As I said, I've been friends with his family for many years. His dad was actually one of my first political mentors, and so I am honored to present his name into nomination.
Thank you, sir. Would you like to make a few remarks for us? You are recognized.
Thank you,
We are
Richard
out of
Vaughn.
session.
And I appreciate being here and the nomination. As I said earlier in the Senate committee, that the Wildlife Commission appointment is a huge trust and responsibility that the state legislator and governor asked the commission to oversee in the agency. And I will do my job honestly and fairly and appreciate the appointment.
Anyone have any questions or comments for Mr. Cox? Seeing none, we will be voting to confirm this appointment. All in favor will say aye. Oh, we have to go back into session. I'm sorry. Now, we're voting on the confirmation on House Joint Resolution 233 for Mr. Cox. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Sir. It goes to calendar and rules. Representative Vaughn.
Thank you, sir.
That brings us to House Joint Resolution 219, and I have the pleasure of presenting to you today Mr. Stan Butt, who has been nominated for that appointment. If Mr. Butt is here, we will go out of session to hear from him. Yes, sir?
Go to Rusty. We need to give it to Rusty.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to relinquish the gavel.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman.
Have to go out of session.
Hey, Mr., out of session?
All right, HJR 219 confirms Mr. Stan Butt's appointment to Fish and Wildlife Commission. Would you have a few remarks you'd like to make, Stan?
Thank you, sir. I'm honored to be appointed by Governor Bill Lee. I grew up in a little rural community of Portland, Tennessee, north of Nashville. My granddaddy bought me a shotgun 410 at the age of 10. My grandmother taught me how to fish when I was just a toddler and on a cane pole and a red worm, and I've been hunting and fishing ever since. In my college years, my degree's in wildlife management. I worked with the game and fish biologist in Putnam County. We did a lot of field work called Wildlife Field Techniques, and as a senior, I was fortunate to take those graduate courses. And for those of you that might not know, we have a population of pheasant, or what's left of them, on the plateau. We did some crow and cock counts. We did cooing counts for dove. We checked the population of flying squirrels at Pickett State Park, so I've got experience there. I worked at Catoosa Wildlife Management Area and pulling jawbones of deer, assessing the age of deer and population. So I have experience there and looking forward to serving the commission in this capacity.
All right, sir, thank you. Anyone with, I'm sorry. I'm so used to doing this, Rusty, I can't get out of the habit.
Not a problem there, Chairman Halford. You're recognized.
Thank you very much. I will mention that Stan's better half used to be a part of this assembly, Ms. Representative Sheila Butt, so I'm glad she let him come up here today to talk with us. So.
She did.
Thank you very much.
She said be sure to tell you hello.
Do we have any other questions for Mr. Butt? All right, we'll go back in session. Just to make sure that we have a motion and a second on this, can I get a motion and a second? All right, do we have any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Goes to calendar and rules. Thank you, Mr. Butt. Thank you. All right, and that, the next item on the agenda is number 14, HJR 220. Chairman Halford, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This confirms Mr. Monty Ballou's appointment to the Tennessee Fish and Wildlife Commission. I'm not sure that Mr. Ballou is, yes, he is. Come on up, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, not this chairman.
we will be going out of session for Mr. Ballou. Mr. Ballou, you're recognized.
Point of order, Chairman.
Chairman?
We are on 220.
229.
Okay, I was going to say it's Chris Devaney on 220.
Yes.
So we're on,
We'll go back to it.
okay, so we're on 229.
229.
All right, Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for having me here today. My name is Monty Ballou. To tell you just a little bit briefly about myself, I'm a 29-year veteran of law enforcement. Started out with the Tennessee Highway Patrol, working various counties across the state and right here in the legislature as well. I have experience as a TWRA boating officer working in Tennessee River and Kentucky Lake. And I was lucky enough to be a elected four-term sheriff of Henry County. I'm currently in a role as Chief of Police at University of Tennessee at Martin and enjoying that new role. I am a UTM graduate with a bachelor's degree. I've also been able to graduate from the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, THP Trooper Academy, and also the FBI National Academy in Quantico. I'm a 25-year hunter safety instructor. In 2004, I received the Hunter Safety Instructor of the Year in Region 1.
Missing one.
In 2009, I was the NWTF Master Hunter Award recipient. I am the former president of the Henry County Scholastic Clay Target Program, teaching the young men and women to shoot clays in Henry County. Former member of the Henry County Fair Board, 18-year member of the chairman of the Jake's Day Program, member of the Ducks Unlimited, newly appointed member of our Asian Carp Task Force that directly affects a lot of things, our economic impact and fishing on the Tennessee River and Kentucky Lake. Avid dog trainer and started a program called Deputies for the Hungry, where we had inmates actually process 225, 250 deer a year, and then we donated the deer meat back to the Henry County residents as a donation. Been hunting and fishing since age 5, and as they always say, as Luke Bryan, hunting, fishing, loving every day. Thank God he made me this way. And that's who I am. I just look forward to giving something back to the sport that's given so much to me. I'm 50 years old, and I still like to hunt and fish, but I've got to the point where I want to give something back to the sport that's given so much to me. And I really enjoy the sunrises and sunsets and watching my dog work, and TWRA has always been near and dear to my heart, so hopefully I can give something back to the agency and to the sport that's given me so much over the years. So I would appreciate your vote of confidence, and I'll be willing to answer any questions.
Okay, Mr. Ballou, I don't know how you're going to have time to serve on the commission with all those things going on.
Well, I've retired from a lot of them. UT Martin's my main gig, and traveling with the football team, as Mr. Darby knows, and came up here last weekend and lost a close one to TSU, but we're back home this week. So UTM's where my heart is, but number 2 is going to be closely at TWRA.
We're going to let Representative Darby fire off first.
Yes, sir. Mr. Monty, it's a pleasure to have you up here. And I just want to attest to the fact that TWRA is stronger with him on the board. I've got to know Mr. Ballou there, and we all take an oath up here to serve. But when you put your body and mind both in it, serve and protect, hey, I can attest that he's done it. So pleasure to have you here, and look forward to working with you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Next on the list, we have Chairman Todd. You recognize.
Thank you, Chairman. And I have known Mr. Ballou for many, many, many years. And he and I both come from Henry County, and both of us ended up in Jackson for a little while, and have known him ever since. But he's probably better known for hunting Homo sapiens, I think, in the past. In his law enforcement days, he's been on a number of really neat encounters where some really bad folks needed to be apprehended, and he used some very neat techniques to take them down. So he will certainly be an asset to this state in this capacity, as he has been in so many others. So I appreciate you being willing to serve.
Thank you, Representative.
Chairman Halsey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome. I just want to know what section of the NA you graduate.
244. I was 2010. 244.
Yeah, I graduated 131st. That tells you
You
how
got me
old
beat
that
a little
is.
bit. You got me beat. Good times, though. Loved every minute of it. Yes, sir.
Representative Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just briefly, I apologize for being late in another committee presenting a bill. And to you, Mr. Blue, you have quite an impressive resume there, but I just want to know one thing. Do you know how to get rid of armadillos?
You know, I've got a few in my backyard. I see them on the side of the road all the time, but I've never trapped them. But I think we, TWRA, ought to have an open season on them.
Well, thank you, sir. I'm just kidding with you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Are there any other questions? We'll go back into session. We do have a motion and a second on this. HJR, all in favor? Say aye. Any opposed? On the calendar rules.
Thank you.
Let's go back to item 14, HJR 0220. Chairman Halford, you are recognized. We have a motion and a second? 220.
This is, confirms Chris Devaney's appointment. Confirms Chris Devaney's appointment to Fish and Wildlife Commission. I think Chris is here.
We'll go out of session. Mr. Devaney?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Chris Devaney. I live in Hamilton County, and it was an honor to be appointed by the governor to this position. I know how important it is. I believe there's only been about 130 members to ever serve on this commission, so it's an honor to hopefully be part of it. I want to let you know just a little bit about my background. I have a heritage in hunting and fishing, and just like Stan and Monty, I think I was 5 years old when I first started with my grandfather. And matter of fact, I got my hunting training certificate in 1979, which at the time, I grew up in Texas, was not, you didn't even have to have it back then. And so it's been a very important part of my heritage. I think it's important to carry on that legacy, and I've taught my 4 kids, my 3 sons and daughter, how to hunt and to fish. They all know how to do that. And so I'm going to take that experience to this commission. I'll also say this, and I think most of you know me, and I've worked with most of you in some capacity. You know that I'm a team player, and I understand that the legislature is close to the people, and you're close to the voters. And just know that I will always be a team player. I'll always have an open door, and I will listen to your constituents' concerns. Having said that, it's an honor, again, to be nominated and appointed to this position, and I'll answer any questions, and I'd be honored to have your support.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Chris. I met you last year, or 2 years ago on the campaign trails.
Yes, sir.
And anyhow, looking forward to confirming you today. Anybody? Mark Cochran?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Devaney, you'll be representing my region of the state, and just wanted to say very, very happy to have you. We've served together in various capacities in the past, and appreciate what you said about keeping the legislature close and keeping that open line of communication, but look forward to having you on the commission. Appreciate your willingness to serve.
Thank you, Representative.
Chair Lady Rudder?
Nice to see you here today, Chris.
Thank you.
I will say back in the day, when Chris Devaney was chairman of our state party, he helped me a lot. And I made several phone calls to him, and I appreciated him then, and I am honored to get to cast a vote for you today for this position. I'm sure you'll do a wonderful job.
Thank you, Representative.
Chairman Hosey? Okay. Chairman Halford?
Yes, sir.
I think I know Chris from a long time ago. Did you drive a bus up here today?
No, I left that behind.
I usually see you driving
With
a bus
Frank
or getting
Nicely.
off
He
a
and I
bus
traveled
with-
on a bus a lot
with somebody's
together.
name in big letters on the side of it, so I just had to
That's
put
right.
that in a little bit.
Do we have any more questions? Thank you, Mr. Devaney, for being here today.
Thank you all
We'll go
very
back into
much.
session. We have a motion and a second on HJR 0220. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? On the calendar and rules. Next is Ms. Becky is correct here, and I'm correct, and we're on the same page. 128. Okay, that's what I thought. HJR 128. Chairman Halford, you are recognized with a motion and a second.
This House Joint Resolution 128 will confirm Jeremy Nagelshiner's appointment to the Heritage Conservation Trust Fund Board.
Is he in the audience today, Chairman Halford?
Yes, there he is. I thought I saw him. Come on up, Jeremy.
We will go back out of session. Jeremy, if you would, state your name and what your intentions are here today.
Thank you, Jeremy Nagelsteiner. I'm a resident in Davidson County. This is my third time being appointed to this board. I work with many of you on a daily basis. So, yeah, grateful to serve. This is a great board that does good things, and happy to answer any questions y'all may have.
Do we have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
If not, back into session. We have a motion to second on HJR 128 by Chairman Halford. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? On to calendar and rules. Next, we have HJR 0129 by Chairman Halford. Chairman Halford, you're recognized. Can we get a motion to second? You're recognized, Chairman Halford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. HJR 129 confirms Madge Cleveland's appointment to the Heritage Conservation Trust Fund Board. There she comes.
We will go back out of session. You're recognized.
Yes, I'm Madge Cleveland. This will be my second term on the board. I think it is a wonderful opportunity for the state to do good for the state. I'm here probably because I've served 2 terms as president of the Foothills Land Conservancy, which has saved over 30,000 acres in 7 states, while allowing people to keep ownership and control over their property. It's a very complicated thing we do, and it's a complicated business that this particular board does, and I've thoroughly enjoyed serving in the past.
Thank you for that testimony. Do we have any questions? Thank you for being here today. Back into session. We have a motion and a second on HJR 129. All in favor, if you would, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? On to calendar and rules. Next, we have number 9, HJR 130. Chairman Halford, you are recognized with a motion and a second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. HJR 130 confirms Ed Warsham's appointment to the Heritage Conservation Trust Fund Board.
Is Mr. Earl here?
He is.
Out of session?
I'm Earl Worsham, and I live in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and I'm a graduate of UT. I've been on this board this is my 4th session. It's a wonderful board. We've partnered with a number of organizations around the state to conserve a lot of property. And on my property in Tennessee, where we live, we have 237 acres that we put into conservation forever to protect. We have synchronizing fireflies on our property, which is a very unique species of fireflies in the world. And so we protected those along with a special piece of property on our creek. And I'm very pleased to have served on this board and hope that you'll confirm me to be another time for another session.
Thank you, Mr. Earl, for being here. Do we have any questions of the witness? All right. Well, you can have your seat. We'll go back into session. We have a motion, a second. We have any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? On the calendar and rules. Number 10, our next item on the list, HJR 131. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Chairman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. HJR 131 confirms Charlie Hankla's appointment to the Heritage Conservation Trust Fund Board. And I believe he's coming to the mic, sir.
Without objection, we'll go out of session. Mr. Charlie, you're recognized.
Thank you, committee. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm from here in Davidson County. Live right next door to Radnor Lake State Natural Area and have been for the last 36 years and have been part of that operation with Friends of Radnor Lake and also the Land Trust of Tennessee, working in conjunction with preserving and protecting a lot of land in that area over the last 30 years. And I just appreciate the opportunity to serve with the Heritage Foundation Trust and look forward to serving again.
Thank you, Mr. Charlie. Do we have any questions of the witness? All right, you can have your seat. Back into session. We have a motion and a second on HJR 0131. Chairman Halford, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? On to calendar and rules. Next on our list is HJR 0238. Chairman Halford, you are recognized. We have a motion and a second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. HJR 238 confirms Aaron Ellison's appointment to the Heritage Conservation Trust Fund Board. Is Mr. Ellison here?
Chairman Halford, he's not here today.
All right.
So with that, I don't guess, is there any questions anyone like to ask of Chairman Halford? There are none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? On to calendar and rules. I don't know though, Mr. Johnny. Usually when you start asking questions, you don't stop. Yes, sir, go ahead, Chairman. Go ahead.
Thank you. I
Representative
just
Shaw.
wanted to ask the Chairman, is that our guy from West Tennessee?
Johnny, I'm sorry, but I don't know the answer to that question.
I know the name, the reason why I asked. I didn't know if it was.
See if it gives me that here. It's from Madison County.
Yes, okay, I thought it was. Well, I highly recommend Mr. Aaron. That's the reason why I thought that's who it was. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Shaw. The last item we have on our list today, I do believe, is item 16. It's HB 214 by Chairman Halford. Chairman Halford, you are recognized with a motion and a second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Senate put an amendment on this bill.
We do have an
when they
amendment.
saw it. That's drafting code 5864, I believe. And it doesn't rewrite the bill, it just makes some change, adds some additions to the bill as written.
Just a second here. We have three amendments here. We want to make sure we put the right amendment on.
5864.
5864, is that what you have, Jeremy? Let's just make sure we get this right. Chairman Halford, you recognized? Which amendment is it you want to put on?
5338, sir.
Okay. Do we have a motion and a second for Amendment 5338? Motion. We have a motion and a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It goes on the bill. Chairman Halford, you are on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 214 creates a 9-member advisory task force of farmers and foresters to lead a strategic planning process and resulting in implementation plans to position this state as a leading hub for ag tech and ag added value agriculture. The task force will be attached to the Department of Agriculture for administrative purposes. It is filled by 6 full-time farmers and foresters, 3 residents involved in ag-related business. That pretty well explains it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Halford. Do we have any questions for Chairman Halford? No questions at all. Well, question on the bill? Question on the bill has been called. Do we have any objections? There are none. We'll be voting on HB 214. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? On to calendar and rules. I'm sorry, excuse me. On to finance. That's fun, hitting that thing with a hammer. All right, well, that brings us to the end of the calendar. If Chairman Halford, if there's not any more business, any personal orders, I have a wife and 2 girls at home. I'm never getting charged, and this is kind of fun. But with that, if we can have a motion to adjourn, we'll be out of here. So moved.